Voters of Jefferson County, my name is Carolyn LeBlanc Guidry, and my purpose today is to talk about the applications for mail ballots and the mail ballot itself. As you know, early voting has already begun. It's February the 14th through February the 25th, with the exception of our holiday, which is this coming Monday, President's Day. If you apply for an application for a mail ballot, this is what it would look like. And you can apply to the county clerk's office, or on the website you can download one. And I will talk about where mail ballots will be available to you at a later date. So in order to get an application for a mail ballot, you must get one from the county clerk's office or the website. Now, the deadline to get your application for a mail ballot is this coming Friday, February the 18th, and it must be in the county clerk's office by 5 p.m. You can fax it in by 5 p.m., but you must follow up by sending in the original application in the mail, which they should receive by the 4th business day. And it must be there by then, otherwise your application will not be valid and you will not receive a mail ballot in the mail. So we're going to talk about the mail ballot application and the proper way to fill it out, and we're going to go step by step, item by item. Okay, the application for a mail ballot, in the first section, it says voter information. So what you must fill out for the voter information will be your last name, your first name, your middle name if you carry it on your voter registration card, and your suffix, whether or not you're a junior or senior. And junior and senior is very important to make sure that they are marking the right voter to get that mail ballot. The second line, you're going to show your address, and this is the address where you are registered to vote. So you need your street name, number and street name, your apartment number if there's an apartment number, your city, your state, and your zip code. That's generic. Now, for optional information, they're asking you to put your date of birth. And this is a way of verifying if you are a voter over 65 and older. If you have your voter registration card, you can go on there and get your VUIT number and put that number on there. It's a 10-digit number. And also your precinct, if you know what precinct you're in, and that precinct number is also on your voter registration card. Now, in addition, they're asking for an email address and a telephone number. This is very important, because if there is a problem with your application for a mail ballot, it is the law now that they must reach out to you to cure that information rather than just rejecting it. So don't forget, please put an email address if you have one, or a telephone number. Now, the most important thing that has changed in this legislation is they are requiring additional identification. Over to the right of the ballot, you're going to see you must provide one of the following numbers. We suggest that you provide two if you have both of them. They're asking for your Texas driver's license number, and you just simply fill in those digits right here in the spaces provided. They say if you don't have one, that's okay, but if you do, put your driver's license number in there. Also, they're asking for the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. Please put those 4 digits on that application as well. Remember, if you can, put your driver's license number and your Social Security number, so the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, so they will have no reason to reject your ballot. And this is the new law. This is what they changed to make it a little bit more difficult for us to get our applications for mail ballots. Now, Section 2 says, mail my ballot to. Normally, we're going to mail our ballots to our residents where we are registered to vote. And that would be the first box. You would check that. But if for some reason you're out of town or you need your ballot mailed to your sibling house or your daughter or son house, there is a box for that. You can use another address, but you must specify why you're using another address, okay? Either you're going to be outside the county, or you're in a hospital, a nursing home, or a long-term care facility. But you must have a reason there. You must put what the relative is to you, whether it's a son, a daughter, a sibling, and then you must put the address where you want it mailed to. But for general purposes, normally we're going to always have our mail ballots sent to our address where we are registered to vote. So check that first box, mail my ballot to my residence address as listed on my voter registration card. Now, Section 3 is very important. It's the reason that we're voting by mail. In Texas, you must have a reason. One of those reasons are 65 years of age or older. If you're disabled according to the Texas Election Code, and that's any kind of sickness or physical condition that prevents you from going to the polling location during early voting or election day. If you're expected to give birth within 3 weeks, that's part of the new law. That's just been written in about the pregnancy. Or if you're expected to be outside the county, and like I said, then you would have to fill out where you want your ballot mailed to. Last but not least is that if you are confined in jail, don't forget, if you are not a felon, if you have not been convicted of a crime, that you are still eligible to vote, and you can also apply for an application for a mail ballot. That is Section 3, reason for voting by mail. Section 4 says, send my ballot for the following elections. Now, if you're 65 and older or disabled, of course, we want to get an annual application. That way, you will get a mail ballot for every election that is held during this particular year, during 2022. So we always want to do annual application if possible. The only time we won't do an annual application is if we're outside the county for this particular election. So we want to check this box, annual application. The next is very important because this is a primary election, and they have to know which ballot to send you. So for the primary election, you must check a box. You must check Democratic primary or Republican primary, unless you just don't want them to send you a ballot for the primary. But please check one of these boxes, otherwise your application will be rejected because they won't know which ballot to send out to you. So don't forget Section 4, send my ballot for the following elections. We want to do an annual application if at all possible and select our party preference. Section 5. Okay, they must have your signature because remember your signature is going to go through a verification committee once they receive your ballot. So make sure that you are signing in Section 5 if you are able to sign, and that you are giving all true information according to this, because it's a crime if you don't. So you want to sign your application and you want to date it. Now, if the applicant is unable to sign or make a mark, then they must have a witness to verify that that is that person that's sending in that application. So you would go to Section 6 if you're not able to sign or make an X, and that's where your witness would sign. So they would check the witness box. The witness would put their signature there. They need to print their name and put their street address, city, and state, and that's required. Now, if they're not a witness, if the person is able to sign, and for instance, they just need some assistance, say they might need you to put a stamp on it for them, and you are assisting that voter with their mail ballot application, then you must also sign as an assistant, not a witness, because a witness can only sign 2 applications for a relative within the same election cycle. So don't forget that, because it is a crime if you do more than that, or they can reject it if they actually find that out. So don't forget, Section 6 is for your witness. Now, what we have, your complete application, I showed you the front of your complete application. This is the back of your application, and it has these same instructions that I just went through. I just did the tutorial on. Basically, the same instructions are on the back of your ballot. When you get finished and you filled out all the ballot on this side, you've completed all this information we just covered, you're going to take that ballot, you're going to fold it in 2. You can put a little piece of tape on it, because it is already addressed to the county clerk's election department. And all you need to do is affix a stamp on that and make sure it gets mailed out as soon as you can. Like I said, time's kind of like wasting right now because we only have until Friday the 18th to get these applications in. So Even when you put it in the mail, if you have the opportunity to fax it, I would suggest faxing that application over and following up and putting it in the mail. Okay? Now, what the other thing I want to talk about is that once you receive your ballot in the mail from the county clerk's office, from the election department, you will have a green envelope, and on that envelope, it is asking for some of the same information that you put on your ballot. And that is critical, because that's what they're going to match it to. So when you fill out your envelope for your ballot, you're going to make sure that whatever identification you used here, your Texas driver's license and the last 4 digits of your social security number, there's a place on that envelope for you to put those same 2 identification items on that, and it must be on there. And then, of course, you close the flap over and you sign over that flap just as you signed this application. And that's very, very important. Now, make sure you realize that these dates are very critical. They won't go beyond those dates. If you don't get your ballot in by election day, if you think the mail is going to be slow, you would have to bring that ballot to the courthouse yourself, and they will accept it from you if you do that. But it has to go only to the main branch location, which is the courthouse. So if for some reason you looked up and realized you have not mailed your ballot on time, you can actually bring that ballot into the courthouse yourself on election day only, though. Remember that. So if you have any questions, please call me. My number is 409-767-3355. Now, I told you we was going to talk about where can you secure applications for a mail ballot. Well, you can acquire those applications through Barton Chapel Church, through St. Peter's Church. Either way, or if you're not unable to do it online or with the county clerk's office, they will have applications available for the constituents of Jefferson County. This televised tutorial will also be on our websites, the Barton Chapel website, Pastor Aaron Reynolds' website, and my website, Carolyn LeBlanc Guidry. So if you have any questions, please, this is very important. We want to make sure that our votes are counted. We've had a lot of law changes, but we want to make sure that we get to the polls or get the applications in, help those that need help. And that's about it. My number again, 409-767-3355. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Again, this is Carolyn LeBlanc Guidry, and thank you so much for tuning in today.